Alright, now we're recording there. Should be recording here juga. Recording. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Mere Recap, episode 2. If you are looking at us thinking, why are they smiling? Why are they laughing? This is what an amateur production looks like. We started the video earlier. We spoke about Navi, full topic of Navi, and I forgot to hit the record button. So, welcome to the real deal this time. Both sides are recording, both audio and visuals. Yep. To the Mere Recap episode 2, we got Realize here, hello. Mr. FNOP man. We got Cheffihn here, Mr. Geek Fam man, Mr. Femunity, and Mr. What's it called?
Sky Peasant.
Sky Peasant. Oh, I wasn't gonna go that far. I was gonna call you. What's it called? No, the fans. What type of fans are ONIC fans?
The Sonics.
No, the ones that are Sablak.
Ultra Sablak.
Yeah,
I gotta say that.
But yeah, welcome to the show. How y'all doing?
Thank you. Very nice.
Very nice. After what happened in week number 2, it feels like a deja vu, man. I said this earlier.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same thing all over again. But before we get started, again, this episode, Mere Recap, is brought to you by Tough Gaming. Go ahead and get your Tough Gaming today. Military grade build quality plus. Look at all those specs. I mean, if it wasn't for Tough Gaming, this wouldn't exist. I got a laptop from them to run this whole show because I can't do it in the PC setup. It's better here on the sofa. Welcome to the Mere Couch. So go ahead, get yourself the Tough Gaming. Tough Gaming is amazing. W Tough Gaming in the chat.
W Tough Gaming.
And now let's get straight into the topic of Navi. Now, we already talked about this earlier, but I guess now we have a better understanding of what we want to say.
Yep.
So, Navi, thoughts?
Like I said, again, I said this before, for an organization that is as legendary as Navi, picking up this Rebellion roster and maybe just changing maybe Sive, instating Coach Aldo to that to the fray as well. I feel like they could have done better in terms of their player picks. I guess it just tarnishes the image that Navi has as a legendary organization. With the results that they're given, I think they wouldn't go as far as I thought they would.
Okay.
Yeah, agree. And I don't see them moving from that spot anytime soon. Makes me wonder though, what was the plan before the season begins? Because when you see the roster, when you see the I'm not gonna say coaching staff, but the whole Rebellion thing, you said it earlier. Wait, oh man, this is kind of awkward. Rebellion reskin, right?
Yeah, Rebellion reskin.
You said it earlier.
Yeah, I did.
Rebellion reskin.
What was the vision here? What was the actual purpose of getting Rebellion and getting to MPL while also knowing that you're not gonna do very well?
I think that's a fair point. Again, we expected an org as big as Navi to come in guns blazing, right? Because even DEWA, in their first season, they made it to playoffs. We didn't get to see that for Rebellion, but ultimately they did make it to playoffs as well. And I agree, especially considering Rebellion were already kind of the weakest team last season. Mm-hmm. It's interesting to see that they have taken away the pillars or the factors that made them strong, Audi TZ, Suelo, apart from cars, obviously. And they have they've changed all of the pillars with less competent players, I would say. Like, Shiva is an upgrade over King Matt. I'm sorry, King Matt. But
my king.
Hanafi, X-Magic, still very raw. They have a lot of potential. But again, this isn't really a lineup that will get you to top 4. And I think it's kind of unrealistic to think that this roster will get you to top 4. It's a whole new coaching staff, whole new vision for the team, everything. But with that said, do you think they still have potential? Do you think they can still somehow turn things around, or is it over for this season?
I mean, there's an argument, right? I've seen in my timeline before. People saying, the Team Liquid core, they're able to make M Series in their first appearance in MPL. Yeah. But I feel like that's a once in a blue moon.
I agree, exactly.
MPL is not the place where you really want to give.
When you want to gamble like that.
When you gamble like that. Maybe when you want to gamble like that is when you really hit a brick wall. That's what Team Liquid did. Yeah. When they booted out Richie back
0-2.
to MDL. Yeah. Yaoi as well leaving. Gugun as well just demoted back to MDL. So I feel like with this Navi core, I said that they had potential, but I want to rephrase it. It's more like this team is, glued together because of Sive and
Cars.
Cars, yeah. So the two veteran players that are really just keeping them together.
Yeah, at least from this season, I just do not see the potential coming to fruition. They need more time, way more than a single season to be able to make a noise in MPL Indonesia, because this is just how competitive the league right now is.
All right. I agree with that. Another thing that I want to bring up is just how nervous they look. All right, like obviously, I want to bring up Magic Hanafi and Washa Paul, the guys who are new to MPL. Right? Again, we can give them the benefit of the doubt because they are new. This is their first time ever playing in MPL, playing in front of a stage. I gave them the benefit of the doubt against RRQ because it's their first match in MPL and they're up against RRQ with those fans. The loudest fans in the building, the loudest fan base, the amazing fan base. But again, to opponent teams, not really that fun for them to play their first match against. But this week, they were up against Alter Ego. Again, loud fans as well. But when will be the point where they start to adapt? And who do you want to trust? In week 1, they trusted Aether. Now they want to play Washa Paul. If they keep on going back between Aether and Washa Paul, it's not going to be good for either one of them, right? Washa Paul clearly, he felt Navi's first week in week 2 because this was his first week.
Yeah.
The pathing was so off. I remember talking about this in the broadcast as well. Orange, Turtle, Orange. By the time he went there, Orange was gone, Turtle was gone. So it was game 2 against Alter Ego. If you guys want to recheck what happened. This guy's ex-BTR, by the way. So it's unfortunate to see him perform like this, but I agree. I think for Navi right now, their season is over. Like usually it's so early to say. It's too early to say that their season is over. But I truly believe the season might be over already. Am I saying that the team will never reach their peak? No, I think they will be able to do better next season after the experience of this season. But making it to playoffs seems like a far shot. Knowing, again, like what you said, Cheffihn, the teams are getting super competitive. Even DEWA, the team we expected to be with Navi, at the bottom 2, has improved so much with Watt as a solo coach.
That's true, but I hope it's not over for them because it just feels bad for Navi.
So too.
Imagine having Navi in the playoffs. Again, legendary org, but this is not the way they want to kick things off.
Definitely
I feel like
not.
for Team Liquid, on their first season, they're able to make M-Series, so I know the jealousy.
They won their MPL.
Yeah, they won their MPL in the first season, so I know the
crazy.
jealousy that the Navi CEO up there maybe might be feeling. He's reeking.
Even the BTR CEO, because we haven't won in...
That's true. Go ahead. Wait, how are they able to win there?
Since season 1.
That's true.
Oh my god.
But that's okay. You have PLA President. You have a Snapdragon.
We didn't even... All right, let's move on to the next one. You have anything to add for Navi?
I'm just hoping that the players are not taking, back to my point earlier. They know what they're in. They know that they are just taking Rebellion's players and adding some inexperienced players. So I hope that they don't give out, quote-unquote, punishments to the players playing this season. I agree. This is investing season.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because Navi decided to go for a very young lineup. Yeah. They should trust in the young lineup. Even though here we're not trusting the process of their first season. Again, next season could be better. And if they do get punished for... because they might have different expectations. Maybe with this lineup they were thinking we could make it to playoffs. But then they won't, and then maybe they get punished. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Let's move on to the 8th place team. And this is still weird to say. We did this mere recap last week with Gani and Arashi. And it was already weird to say that ONIC are winless. But they are currently still winless. Their closest shot was when they beat GEEK Fam, game 1.
Yeah.
And then they went for the same exact draft, winning 5,000 gold lead in the early game, and then fucking throwing. Mister, I think we have to throw this question to you before I throw it to Cheffihn. What the hell is going on with ONIC?
I don't understand. To be honest.
And Nile XP.
Okay, on that regard, I actually got... I caught wind of something.
Ooh.
So there's a leak. I wouldn't say it a leak, but...
Okay.
Someone tipped me and said that... with the announcement of Ryota, have you seen that?
Yeah, Ryota.
So Ryota has been with ONIC since the start of the NPL. But they haven't revealed that yet.
Oh.
And then they put on Nile to play XP. That makes me question and wonder why they not giving Ryota the chance to play yet.
I think for Ryota's case, his kitas, which is the permit, his permit to work in Indonesia isn't done yet. So I think that might be the reason he hasn't
true,
played.
Because if you're going to work, then that's going to involve the government and all that.
Exactly.
That's true. So maybe that's like a... last second decision to again reinstate XP, but then again, I don't wanna give reasons, but come on, man, cut us some slack. We lose 2 of our players, Savero and Lutpi.
Okay,
they're still
fair.
in suspension for now. When they're back,
okay,
you're gonna be prepared.
Okay,
Famous last words.
So, Cheffihn, you seem like you have a lot to say about ONIC.
Well, even though Res, you might think that he's not playing the way he's played last season.
Yeah.
I just do not see why you would put Nile in the XP, knowing fully that it's not gonna be there for the rest of the season. So I'm still trying to find what's the actual reason for that. It's Res I think there should be something going on, right?
Yeah, it's like a short term, very short term.
Yeah, maybe he's not feeling well or something like that. Maybe last second decision, just like Mr. Realize said.
And I feel like ONIC has to stop with the ego drafts, man. Just go back with the...
Okay.
We're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk
more
about that. Geek Fam are next, so we're going to talk about that.
The things that work for them. And one more. I feel like Adi needs supporting staff. He can't function alone. He needs help from maybe an analyst or a performance coach and whatnot. And when it comes to this stage in MPL, you really, really need supporting staffs. And it really matters a lot.
I think that's also very visible in the way that he's been drafting. It feels very template, and when he doesn't get his template, sometimes it goes and it doesn't work out. I think the one example would be the Cho Aurora, forcing the Cho Aurora after seeing Alter Ego's Fairness, still going for a single target roamer tank, and I don't know. I think most people have already kind of criticized Adi and his drafts. Hopefully he can get better, because I know for a fact that he has proven to be, I think, more than capable coach, especially for the regular season in the past, right? Like you can hate Adi all you want, but usually he still helps his team to make it to an international, make it to a top 2 position. This season it's looking really bleak, but I agree. Cut him some slack. 2 players out, swapping Rez and Nile. That's your fault. You didn't need to do that.
That was a forced.
But the suspension is not over. This is the last week where we'll be seeing ONIC play with their substitute players, if you want to call them that. Next week onwards, if it's not Ryota, we'll have Lutpi, we'll have Savero.
Yeah. And also granted that the fact that they are up against first RRQ, then EVOS, then the main
Alter
Kryptonite.
Ego.
Oh, Alter Ego.
Alter Ego,
then
Geek Fam.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty much the Kryptonite of
ONIC.
But going back to the draft earlier, but do you think ONIC is a bit too comfortable putting hard drafts onto their players? Like they're too over-reliant on the micros of these players?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think this has been the problem even when Yeb was there.
Yes.
Sometimes the draft just does not make sense, but it's ONIC.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, because they have Kyrie, they have players that are basically mechanically gifted.
Yeah, that can pull it off. Usually.
They can pull it off.
Able to pull it off,
That's why they do the ego drafts. But again, you said teams are getting competitive, meta shifting, and then you don't really have that much of an option in the jungle, again, for Kyrie to really carry. Maybe the Suyo and Joy only, and if push comes to shove, maybe the Nolan might come in play, but then again, it's not the most viable jungler, so... I feel like, again, they're forcing, or rather, just trying to give Kyrie the Suyos and the Joys and just the comfort picks for him to work with. And this ego draft needs to stop.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they have been very reliant on picks that depends on their perfect execution. Again, perfect execution drafts that may not look too good, but it's ONIC, they can do it. It's these players, they can do it. I think they got to stop. They got to understand that this is a rebuild. This is no longer the ONIC of season 10, 11, 12, 13. This is a new ONIC, completely new with... Well, it's not really completely new, but it is newer. There's no Yeb in the fray. It's a weird Keyboy. It's not crazy clinical Sans anymore.
Yeah.
And Kyrie, I hate to say it, man, but like we've been saying it for Sans, for Keyboy. I think also Kyrie, it doesn't really feel like he's that comfortable. Again, we could bring this up and talk about it's because he's not with Lutpi, not with Savero, not with the side laners that he's used to. But it really feels like these members have kind of lost their hunger, honestly. Like, that might be the main reason. They've lost their hunger. In Season 10 all the way to 13, we saw that hunger. We saw just how desperate they are to win. They wanted to win every single game, every single match. That's why games went on 13,000 gold lead, 14,000 gold lead. Every game of ONIC is a 13,000 gold lead. Even at M5. But after M5, I saw a slump. After... getting grouped in MSC, that was the biggest slap in the face. Or maybe the Geek Fam loss in the playoffs was the biggest slap in the face. Maybe at that point they're like, you know what? We already made a lot of money. we're pretty successful already. Like maybe that's where the hunger dropped.
I hope they're not complacent though. Because
that's
4P
the
champs,
number one enemy of
that's always
teams,
something that the Sonics are able to echo,
Exactly.
4P champs and all that. to be honest, me myself, I'm not really satisfied with 4P. I want that M Series trophy, even though Super Fins delivered it to us already.
Oh man,
alongside King Kong. So domestically, internationally, we're working very, very hard in succeeding. But Geek Fam, where's your M Series champion?
Oh, okay. We got a bit of banner. Okay. So on that note, let's move on to Geek Fam. I think we've spoken enough of ONIC and their problems. So, Mr. Cheffihn, you won against ONIC, doubling down on the draft that I thought was stupid, and I still stand by that opinion, by the way. Let me know what you guys think about the ONIC versus Geek Fam draft, because we have different opinions on that one. Well, Cheffihn didn't have an opinion in game 1, but after game 2, it's like, oh, look, they did it!
See, the thing is, let's put the definition of eco draft first.
Yeah.
Is eco draft trying the same thing knowing that you lost in the previous game?
No.
That's it, right?
I don't think that's really the definition of ego draft. Ego draft is more like, yeah, we're gonna win anyways, so we're gonna just go for this draft.
So you can draft the most ridiculous
exactly
thing.
the like, oh, we're going to go with a back-to-back draft. It's also just like, oh, we're just gonna go with this draft, whatever draft it is, because we're gonna win anyway.
See, like, I don't think the repeating draft was a single person's call. I don't think it's Blovsy alone, right?
It was Beloy probably too.
Yeah, because we
and
know
Adi.
Beloy. We know
Takes two to tango.
the rumors Beloy is coach/player/analyst/chef/yoga instructor/psychiatrist in Geek Fam. He does everything for
He does
this
everything. He's probably the head of esports too.
So yeah, so everything, at least the players has to be bought in to the draft, right? They have to have some kind of belief that they could do it.
Yeah.
So at that point, like, put yourself in a coach position. If you drafted you know for sure that you're gonna win with this draft.
Yep.
You ended up losing. Would you run it back in game number 2?
I think it depends, right? Because for me, the way I saw it, ONIC read through the win conditions of Geek Fam's draft, and in game number 2, ONIC completely lost the vision of what Geek Fam wanted to do. That's why I still felt it was stupid on ONIC's side that they lost, and it was kind of stupid for Geek Fam to run it back. I understand where you're coming from, and it ultimately did work. So that was already proof against my point. But for ONIC, they had a better start to game 2. Game 1 was a bit even in the first turtle. That composition is really good at getting first turtle, staying even, and then waiting for Moskov. That didn't happen in game 1 because they shut down the Moskov. Game 2, they shut down everybody except the Moskov, where they had multiple opportunities to shut down Moskov too. After getting the kills on the other members, after getting neutral objectives, they decided, you know what, Chidera wasn't a threat last game. Let's just leave him to farm.
But was that like ONIC getting too complacent, or like ONIC's mistake, or just Chidera playing a bit better?
I think it's both.
Yeah,
a mix of both.
I think it's a bit more Chidera on Chidera part than ONIC. So that's why I kind of disagree about the whole. Now that I have time to think about it, is it really ego draft when the whole team is bought in, the whole team knows that it could work?
I feel like Geek is entitled to have an ego draft as well, because Beloyski is able to perform in these playmaking roamers. Chidera on a good day is just side by side with Kelra.
After breaking his fast, that was the meme, right?
Yeah,
he broke his fast. Game 1, he was still fasting. Game 2, he broke his fast, and then he became the real Chidera.
That's a stretch though. Against not beside Kelra. I said beside Kelra, but maybe one of the best goal laners you can have in MPL, and this is where it happens. In ONIC, they let go of the steering wheel. They're like, nah, let's just let our feet drive, and we'll walk to the base. Chidera was like, nah, screw you all.
Yeah. On that note, though, Cheffihn, I think the reason Chidera wasn't, the reason I feel like it was still kind of ONIC, more on ONIC's side over Chidera, is because they got a 5,000 gold lead. If they were even at the start and then they weren't able to pick off Chidera, I'd be like, all right, that was Geek Fam completely outplaying and understanding their win condition finally. But they got battered. It was a 5,000 gold lead. And there was no reason for ONIC to let go of Chidera in the laning phase. There was no reason for CW to overextend a couple of times on weak side that he didn't do in the previous game. But this game was like 5,000 gold lead, might as well. Look at this guy. He didn't do anything. He was 0-2 last game. Let me just walk up and Bruno this out. He got caught by Beloyski, gave Moskov the lead. Moskov kept on Moskoving, and then by the time ONIC realized it, they were like, oh shit, we really should have done something about that.
Okay. They forgot people can change in game 2.
Yeah.
fair.
Are they robots? They will replicate the same thing in game number 1. No, they changed.
And then in game 3, they swapped out one pick. Honestly, when ONIC failed to recognize their win conditions, they do the same thing. Again, the ego draft. They're like, no, we'll do it better. It's a battle of, no, we can play better next game even with the same draft.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess fair. Agree to disagree.
Yeah, agree to disagree.
We have also another match that Geek Fam did.
against Bigetron, by the way. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Right? I can banter with you too.
Yeah. What do you think
Stage is
about
yours.
that? I mean, I don't really think you can banter there. Bigetron. 2-0.
Wait. All right.
Here goes
So
Cheffihn.
you're the neutral party in this case, right? Did you watch BTR versus GEEK?
Yeah, I did.
Do you think if that was not Kenziski but Chidera, would it have gone differently?
That's a good one.
Of course, but again, it's a slim chance because if you're
Really?
relying on micro plays,
No.
it's always not going to bank because
Yeah.
you have to start from
I know.
from the
I
bigger
know.
picture.
I know, but Team 1, do you think Bigetron got out macroed almost the whole entire game? Right? Come on.
Yeah, I think so.
I like how
think,
aggressive Cheffihn is.
No, like seriously.
I think so.
The main difference in that game was okay. First of all, I'm not just gonna blame Kansiski.
Yeah.
This is how rookies should be. Like even in the NBA, the league that I really love, when you're playing a rookie, you know you're gonna lose a lot of value in your lineup. Right?
Okay.
This is the normal rookie performance. Like
Okay.
this is just, you said earlier, TLID is just an outlier, an anomaly. All right. So some of the mistakes that Kansiski made would not have been made by Chidera.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I
The
agree.
1v1 to the top lane.
Yeah.
That was like a pure miscalculation.
Getting
right?
soloed by
Harrod
Iman, yeah.
in the early game against a Beatrix.
I think honestly though, it was also just him getting outplayed because once you have the Azure Blade and the book, when you can already use your Chrono
Halberd?
Dash, yeah, against a Halberd, still, I think you should be able to win that out. But he got poked, so we got the replay on that because I was curious too. Like, how the fuck did Beatrix win out that skirmish? He got the Renner shot right before,
I
before they
see.
started that fight. If he didn't get, it was very very close, even with the Renner shot, right? And Eman still had to flicker out the synchro vision. So I understand what Kenziski wanted to do, but also he got Renner shotted, he got Eman, and the thing is, Cheffihn, if Chidera was playing, his hero pool will be very, very different. I don't know how good Chidera is on the Harith, and that's the thing. Like, he's really good on the Moscovs. He's really good on maybe even the Grangers. You know, it fits his style. But on the Hariths, it really isn't a Chidera pick. So if we do get to see Chidera, or maybe that's the reason they went for Kenziski. Maybe Chidera isn't really too used to this meta. That's why we saw him play Moskov, 3 games? No, he got banned in game 3. Game 3, forgot what he picked, but it wasn't a Harith. It was Claude. See, Moskov, Claude. He's playing these... Moskov is meta. Claude's a bit more off meta, but very off meta. But Chidera picks. Maybe that's why they're like, all right, we need someone who understands the meta, and it's Kenziski. But it is a rookie, so they're going to have to bank on him performing, potential. It wasn't shown there because, to be fair, a lot of people will hate on Kenziski, but he was up against Eman. He was up against BTR. Like, we can talk about Bigetron being chokers all we want here, but they're still a good team. They're a good side.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the criticism towards Chidera, right? I think it has been for like 2 or 3 seasons, even 4 seasons. The fact
Claude
that this
Merchant.
guy, Claude Merchant, Carry Merchant, Moskov Merchant. This guy doesn't have an ocean hero pool. This guy has a
deep hero
sink.
pool, yeah.
It feels like he's always limited to like the Claude pick, the Carry pick, the Moskov
Natan.
pick, Natan, or maybe push comes to shove, the Beatrix.
Yep.
But when he's tasked to play maybe like Harith, or if in certain situations have to play the Lunox or the Minotaur, when it was still trying to pick becoming a counter towards the Harith, he can't really pull it off. So yeah.
But he did play the Valentina back in the day, remember?
Yeah.
Valentina Gold. So this is just an assumption because we've only seen him play off meta, as in like not Harith Granger. That's what off meta means here because the gold lane is basically just Harith Granger. You want to add anything on in their performance, Cheffihn?
I guess that's why I'm not really mad that they lost to Bigetron, knowing that fully that they are still beatable.
They're still beatable.
They are.
I think so too. I think
The macro is really sound.
Yeah.
And by the way, Balowski, I'm sorry, but stay out of show.
Oh, stay out of Choloyski.
I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of it.
You're not a fan of the Choloyski? All right, Well, speaking of Chos, Liquid ID, Witty was awesome on the Cho in this first season. But for some reason, this season, it's not picked up at all. It hasn't been picked up at all. And Liquid ID have been struggling. Until Kyo stepped in. So, all right, Kyo stepped in. That's a substitute for Aaron Shiki in the gold lane. And they won against DEWA. DEWA were, I think, the favorites coming into that matchup, knowing how shaky Liquid were and knowing how solid DEWA have been. Well, again, that might be a bit like, DEWA might be a bit overrated because they beat Bigetron. That's not really the best a gauge, especially after that Navi. So, maybe not the best gauge of power. Still, though, Liquid ID didn't just beat Navi. They stomped Navi. But before that, they got stomped by RRQ. So
fastest game in MPLID history, right?
9 minutes, 40 seconds. RRQ shat on Liquid's chest.
That's probably the best definition of it, because in terms of like gold lead per minute, that's probably the highest MPL has ever seen, right?
No, the highest one is actually Bigetron. I'm like this against EVOS game 2, 17,000.
But in
per
how many
minute,
minutes?
per
Yeah,
minute.
Yeah,
That was in I believe it was 14 minutes, 17K and 14. This one,
right
yeah,
around that, yeah.
pretty similar. But is this an Aaron problem that we're seeing? Because without Aaron, I mean, again, this is we've only seen it in one game, Kyo. Without Aaron, Kyo was able to perform. The whole team seems back in sync.
Where, I'm not going to go deep into it, but yeah, it feels like it has affected his performance in the game. And I do believe that to be the case as well, because he hasn't been performing as how he was back in season 14, right?
Yeah.
He was a monster. I mean, just bullying him around.
Agreed.
And just becoming one of the best goal laners in MPL, even in the entirety of the world in that season. But I think for now, yeah, they had to have Kyo step in. I don't know the extent of this rumor, but yeah, again, just hearing things here and there. I hope though he's gonna sort it out, because Kyo might just take his place.
Oh.
Not just
Wow.
in terms of his mechanics, but his trash talk as well.
Yeah.
He's been taunting the players.
He's a
as
mini
well.
Aaron, dude.
Yeah,
the goal
mini
laners
Aaron,
have the same
basically.
vibe.
That's true. So yeah, I hope Aaron Shiki does get back to his best. Of course, it's not just going to be the personal problem. Maybe Liquid are trying to change things up. We can't really just rely on the rumors. But yeah, that's the thing.
I'm glad that you talk about that, because I didn't know that was the case for Aaron Shiki. Maybe just going out of just Team Liquid a bit. For a lot of fans out there, when a player is underperforming, it's not always about them being shit.
Okay.
Sometimes, in the morning you didn't get your spaghetti, now you don't want to play pickup games at the park. Like the little things. Like, we are all humans.
That's true.
All of us.
Yeah, I think that's true. I don't think I want to go as far as Aaron Shiki is the root of the problems of
absolutely
TL,
not,
because I think there were a lot of problems. Again, the draft, the Selena, constantly, that was an ego draft too. Forcing Selena, forcing out these picks for Yehezkiel when he is very good on. Look at him on Farsa. Look at him on Eve. Like, why why are we forcing him to play Selena? He's Yehezkiel. He's not Super Friends, and it's fine. It's fine not to be Super Friends. Not everybody needs to be Super Friends. Aside from that, I think Weedy has gotten back, his confidence and his comfort.
Yeah.
I think that is the main reason why TLID do well in tournaments usually, because he's the brain. You get rid of the brain, you make him feed 0-7, and effectively you've stopped him from having the confidence to make those calls. You've stopped him from thinking for the team. And here we get to that match against DEWA, game 2 was brutal. 8-0. They took the RRQ loss personally. They were like, fudge, we gotta do something, and
Not
they
just
did.
kills, right? Like, everything.
Everything. Zero neutral objectives, zero turrets, zero. All the stats with the kills were 0. So, hey, it's also, I think, too quick for me to say Liquid are back. I think Liquid are back to a state where they can compete again, but they're not back yet. This is not season 14 Liquid yet. I think it'll take some time for them to adapt with Kyo and to adapt with whatever the new meta is. But here, this is one thing that I want to talk about for Liquid. We did mention in the interview, hey, we're back and the patch comes out next week, so get ready. And I don't know if you know, but Witty he's a mastermind when it comes to reading the patch and adapting. So that's why he's very, very excited for this new patch. He thinks he's going to be ahead of the curve against everybody. And I trust him, man. Witty is a smart man.
Yeah.
Arhan too, by
Very
the way.
humble too. Those two.
Very humble.
Yeah.
Witty the Wise. That's why we call him Witty the Wise.
Wise Witty. And
Wise
they have
Witty.
Wiseman as well.
Yehezkiel Wiseman.
And to be honest, this calls the question: will teams like Liquid, who change mid-season and find success, be able to replicate it in the next season? Will they be able to?
Are they a one-season wonder?
Yeah, are they a one-season wonder? Will they be able to hold their success for the next season?
Yeah.
Again, it happens once in a blue moon. That success.
So there's a chance that last season was like the power of
It was a
unknown.
fluke, maybe.
Like they don't know, they're not familiar with Team Liquid's ID game yet.
Well-
be.
Now they are starting to adjust.
Yeah.
I mean, fluke, but
Not a fluke.
If
It's a Leicester kind of story,
Yeah.
I feel. If we
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about football terms.
Premier League. I mean, it's not a fluke because if it was a fluke, they would win MPL, but they wouldn't perform in M Series. But
Yeah,
they perform
exactly.
in M Series.
And Snapdragon too. Like, yes, they didn't make it to finals, but top 3 performance, I think it's still very commendable for a team as new as this to have that level of
Yes.
consistency. So let's move on to another new team. Actually, not really new, but a few new players. DEWA United, maybe, has been really, really good. Last week we praised maybe, we praised Ray. But one thing I did praise and one thing I did say is Mueza's core, Mueza as the main factor as to how Ray was able to perform, maybe was able to perform. I think Mueza got shut down now. Against Liquid, he got shut down. That's the only loss that they took this week. And when their setup isn't as clean as it was against Bigetron, against Navi, Ray can't get in that red tree. And his red trees are still amazing, by the way. I still think he's the best red tree this week, too. Against Fabian, Purple Buff, 4 out of 4. He won that out, even being one level down. But on the Turtles, when it's more of a team game than just a pure 50-50, Aran played it really well on the Badang, stopped him in his setups. And it really comes down to how you set up for Ray. And DEWA were not able to set up for Ray. They were not able to set up for Maybe. They were outclassed. The trio mid. Octa, I think, is the main point I want to talk about here. Because Octa is definitely, for me, the weak link of DEWA.
Yeah.
There's no mid pressure. When he's on the Valentina, he doesn't know what ult to take. He dealt less damage than the Gatot Kacha.
Yeah.
I was very stunned. I thought week 1, benefit of the doubt. He's back to MPL, give him a bit more time. No, week 2, it was worse. And this is an Octa performance that we've seen before in RRQ. I think it was very similar to this.
Yeah.
Starting off really strong, but then falling off when they're up against teams who finally understand how to beat that trio mid of DEWA.
Yeah, if we pull the threads back to when Hijume was playing, this is what made DEWA so good. Hijume x Mueza. You have setters. You have players who can zone out and create space for you. This is where Watt was able to perform even on weak side because he knows his team is getting cross map plays, and now Mueza is still there. Or rather, when Hijume parted from DEWA, you know things were not going well for them, and now Mueza is back to his best. I said it before. I'm gonna say it again. Mueza is very good on the initiators. He's very good when he has the capability to, create plays. Give him the Chos, maybe the Badangs as well if you want to talk about this meta. But Mueza is. Gatot as well, yeah.
I think he's just an intelligent player, I think it doesn't need to be a playmaking pick. You could put him on a Matilda as well.
That's
true. Kind of playmaking, but more utility-based. Yeah. He still does really well.
Somehow he got shut down by Woody on a Khalid. The alpha.
Yeah, but...
You said it in the broadcast.
Yeah.
This is the bread and butter of Mueza, Matilda. Somehow it got shut down. Man, DEWA United is such a... so far, from these 2 weeks, it's a bit... I don't really have a good conclusion yet on this team.
Agreed.
Like 1 week I saw them performing really well, and I said, maybe this is a top 4 candidate, to be honest.
Same.
Like,
Same. Especially after they beat Bigetron. I didn't expect
I
that.
don't think I'm reaching on that part, right?
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, after seeing them getting absolutely gobsmacked by TLID, I was like, playoffs or not? Is this...
Yeah, especially because Alter Ego are also looking really good. Like, the teams are improving so much here in ID.
I love that.
Yeah.
But I think another shining star for DEWA is, of course, Maybe.
Yeah.
This guy has been so clean on that goal lane. Maybe bar a few kills here and there when
He got soloed by Kill, though.
Yeah, he did. that's the question, right? But against Bigetron, remember, he was playing the Moskov out of his goddamn mind. He was activating the side lanes, looking for a segue
really smart
play.
plays,
Just so smart and so
calm.
patient, so calm, calculated as well. And the SODs, they land pretty well.
Yeah.
Do you think it's crazy that I say maybe it's a top 3 gold laner right now so far?
Oh, I think it might be too early to say top 3. I think
M1
he's good.
is
easily number 1.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
We gotta be honest.
I hate saying that, but that's
Yeah, he is.
We gotta be all right.
Number 1.
All right. Since we're already in this topic, you know what? We'll have the roles later. We'll talk about the roles individually, top 3 for each of us. Okay, so let's move on to the next team then. Yeah, DEWA we're done with DEWA United. So we're Bigetron Esports is next. So
Bigetron.
Bigetron esports, the Red Robots, who have been struggling, I'd say. You know, they haven't had the usual start of Bigetron. But for me, against GEEK Fam, I agree. They got out macro. There's so many things that they still need to improve on, and I think their drafts are very one-dimensional. I'll be honest with you. That Beatrix game against GEEK, game 1, not game 2. I think game 2 they fixed, you know, the errors of game 1. But game 1, it was literally just RRQ season 11, dude. It was season 12, season 13.
Same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it was RRQ when they had Irad. It was just
Irad.
Let's play for Skylar. Let's let Skylar carry us. Let's put him on a comfort pick and play around him. They had 3 frontliners, a Vexana mid, so it was more utility, and then our god Emma. So that's a problem for VTR, especially up against higher tier teams. Again, we were up against a GEEK Fam who was still adapting, who's still trying to play with Kenziski, who's still rebuilding, and it was a struggle in game 1. Game 2 was a stomp, but game 1. So the drafts, those kind of drafts, I think need to go, especially against top tier teams. That will not work out. Or maybe it will work out. I mean, I'll be happy if it does, but it doesn't seem like the best choice to go with when you're up against the better teams.
And maybe because Bigetron is also on their adaptation period.
That's true.
Anavel.
That's true.
And Super Ken, by the way, inactive.
And Light.
Oh.
And Light as well. Light. Okay, so you said it. I mean, he said it a few times. Light. He's gonna be one of the best roamers in MPL.
I think he's already the best Cho in MPLID right now.
So far, he is, but I feel like at some point, you know, like he has been doing misplays here and there for Bigetron.
Yeah, when he's not on the Cho,
on the Badang, but on the Cho, he's a different monster.
When he's on the Cho, he's been he's amazing. When he's on the Gatot, he's been Gatot. Like, there's not much. High lows. But then you see him on the chip, and it's like,
that dive on
Yeah.
the turret. Why are you forcing it? And everyone follows suit.
At least they commit together. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is a fundamental in the team when you wanna, like, when you play pro play.
Yeah.
When your shot caller makes a call, you follow. If it's wrong, we fix the shot call. But having that, you know, mindset is good.
That's true. But again, I do think they have to have some sort of countermeasure if they feel like that call is wrong.
They're not composed. I think that's the biggest problem for Bigetron too. Because in game number 3 against EVOS, when they went for the chip pick again, by the way, not the ego draft technically, but they were winning. They were winning up to a point. Erlan fucking stole the Lord.
Yo!
Erlan, what the hell, man? I've been hyping you up all these years just for my team to get smacked by you. But then they defended the Lord. Guess what they do next? They force a fight. It's just like, guys, you got the Lord. You can reset and play all over again. Remember, you won the previous fights. You can do it again. But if you were to use your resources on Lord, and when it's so staggered, I think composure and draft is something that they definitely need to improve on.
Yeah, that's a huge question.
I don't think there's not much to talk about in Bigetron except for Emon, man.
Yeah.
It's just such a luxury, such a privilege when you see, or like when you have a guy that can pretty much
that's true, though.
fall back to. Like,
Yeah.
this is the safety net of Bigetron Alpha.
Yeah.
But
Not
other
all
than
teams have that.
Like, is Moreno and Luke not at the same level?
I think
as-
Moreno has been doing great. I think
Luke, how about
Luke on certain picks he's been Luke. On other picks he's been Givenchy. He's back to his old,
Givenchy.
What he does well, he does well. On the Badang, he's really for some reason I don't know why, but they don't go CC. They've never gone CC. CC has been one of the best picks, and they've lost a lot of games to CC. They've won a lot of games against CC too, but it feels like if he doesn't get Badang, it's done. They don't know how to play with unless it's like Cho Light or Luke Badang. If they get Luke Badang, they're okay with not having Cho Light. If they have Cho Light, they're okay with not having Luke Badang. But if one of those goes, it's like, shit, we don't know what to do.
One fear I have for Bigetron is they might just become RRQ Season 12, Season 13. Just relying on Skylar.
Yeah.
I don't think
Rinse
that's
and
gonna be the
repeat. Maybe it might not happen because back then RRQ, they had problems in picking their players and whatnot.
And their coaches.
And coaches as well. Second floor. For Bigetron, at least they have some sort of cushion. I mean, Moreno again, just being such an insane player, and mid lane. And for Anavel, I feel like he's getting the hang of it.
Yeah,
he's
getting better.
He's getting better. He's becoming decent. So yeah, Bigetron. I hope they don't fall into just relying on Iman again and again, because they can't just rely on Iman.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen though. I think who was the Brusco said
Brusco.
when he was in RQ, one of the main problems that he had was like English and language barrier. Maybe Lad is still adjusting towards Indonesian scene. And is he the shot caller for
I
Bigetron
believe
also?
so.
So that's a big thing, right? You have
Yeah.
to be able to communicate much clearer.
Yeah.
And the potential of the team sometimes hinges on how well you speak the language.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I think on that note, we've spoken enough about Bigetron. I agree. I think it's just them adapting too. I think it's fair to say that they're also adapting. One team that has adapted really quickly that even I didn't expect. Mr. King Natco, Mr. Nat Goat. EVOS. We're gonna talk about EVOS now. Number 3 in the standings. They have just lost the match, and it was a crazy loss too, by the way, right? To Alter Ego. I didn't expect them to be for Alter Ego to beat them. But yeah, I think it's exactly what we said. Migani Arashi said last week. Natgo finally got exposed in a way where his flickers it worked really well in week 1. He flickered forward, he made these plays, he was the aggressive mid laner, but you can't keep on doing that without getting red, right?
Yeah.
And this against Alter Ego, he was red out and he was outgunned. Like Hijume is a type of mid laner to flicker forward too, when you have that similar mindset. Especially Dreams as well. Like these two ex-EVOS players who kind of know what, even though by the way, it's a completely new team, so they technically shouldn't know.
Yeah.
They were able to read them out very well.
Yeah.
And for EVOS, when the trio mid doesn't work, when Albert gets shut down, or when Key gets shut down, or when Natco gets shut down, it's done. Like their side laners are complementary, I feel. Except, maybe if we get to late game. But in the case of Alter Ego versus EVOS, we didn't get to see the side laners at all. Erlan and Regi ghosted the entire 2 games.
Yeah. And then maybe people would be asking, why was Swaylo not playing? I feel like Swaylo does deserve to be given a chance.
I think after this loss,
Yeah,
we'll
After
see
this
Swaylo
loss,
next week, yeah.
But it doesn't really, stay in Natco's performances in the past few weeks. I feel like he has been pretty well, but again...
2 week prime.
Yeah, 2 week prime, and then that's
King
it.
Natco!
The power spike is gone, late game, just done. But for Natco, I feel like, you can't really make these reckless plays. I want to call it reckless because, again, just going forward like that. Because, Hijume, like you said, also does the same thing, but maybe even better because he has been so accustomed to this type of play style. Erlan, though, I feel like is, again, a plus point for EVOS.
I agree.
This guy is so good. He might make it top 3 goal laners in MPLID so far. That Lord steal was disgusting. I remember on the English broadcast, Eterna was like, and then they're gonna get the Lord, but then that's
Boom.
I thought it was against Bigetron, right?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Eterna was like, NFL's gonna get the Lord,
Goddamn.
and then there goes the Sonata.
I don't like when we're talking about this kind of plays, man. Do you think it's more luck than skill?
Of course, there is luck.
There is
I
There is
think
luck.
it's much more luck than you think, though.
I don't know, because I think that one in particular, like it wasn't a random shot that just got it.
Yeah.
It was Key.
They had vision.
It was
By
Key,
Key.
Jeet Kundoing Anavel.
Yeah.
While Erlan shot it. So, yes, there's a bit of luck there because there's no way they would be able to coordinate the exact timing of, the Jeet Kundo landing and not being able to retrieve for Anavel with the Death Sonata. But props still, like they were able to come in clutch in a clutch moment like that. They have a clutch factor. They have the clutch factor. But again, it's only if they get to late game. That's when Erlan can shine. That's when the gold lane can finally say something.
Yeah.
In the mid game, it's still a jungle. The jungle and the trio mid that has to, do the heavy lifting and the XP. And when EVOS go up against this, what EVOS reminds me of now? EVOS remind me of a very, very early RRQ last season. Like RRQ would have amazing setups for every neutral objective. They would be very systemized. They would have templates for every single neutral objective. But when they were up against a team like Alter Ego, against a team like Bigetron, early on, when they're just super chaotic, they would just fight and fight and fight. They don't know what to do because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't, abide by their template rules or their macro book. So Chaos has been a good way to shut down EVOS, and that, I think it was proven by Alter Ego.
We haven't shouted Key out, by the way.
Shout out Key XBTR, by the way.
I was gonna say about BTR, like he was in the same program for like God knows how many seasons, and he actually adjusted to EVOS right away from the
Instantly.
get go. He's so
Insane.
good.
I think it's because of Albert, because having Albert there means that they've been playing together for a
together
long time. They're
ranks,
good friends, so the synergy wasn't that hard for them to work on. But for the others, that's why I never doubted Albert and Key, but I doubted Natco, I doubted Regi, I doubted even Erlan, even though he's my boy. I really think Erlan is the next big thing in the gold lane. But they were able to sync so well. Now my question is, have they been exposed by Alter Ego, or is this just kind of like a loss that they need to take and that they will improve on in next matches?
I think this is going to be a reality check for EVOS. They had their honeymoon phase with the win streaks that they're having, but a loss is something that you need to experience to then again
agreed.
go back to the
get
drawing board to get better. Maybe like like Cheffihn said, Key adjusted pretty well, and that's because maybe the power of the friendships that they have. But again, you can't keep on relying on the power of friendship.
Yeah.
These losses teaches you that. You have to go back to the methodical approaches and again, just be better than your opponents. Maybe switch up a few things. It's time to check on Swaylo maybe.
Yeah.
Try him out for next week.
Maybe Swaylo.
Yeah, Swaylo. Who knows?
I guess that's it.
Yeah. So let's move on to the second team, Alter Ego.
Hey.
I mean, in terms of entertainment factor, this is the team. This is the most entertaining team in the way they fight, in the way they play the game, in the way they do interviews, their character, like their personality as well. Like Rin, if you guys don't know, Rin styled his hair to look like a social media guy, influencer, a big influencer in Indo, Aloy, and he came to the arena for the EVOS match, and I think that kind of boosted them too. Really.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't expect Alter Ego to even get a game. I thought it was going to be a 2-0 EVOS day. But they got... This is the thing about Alter Ego, though, that I think is could be a problem for them, too. This is a pattern that we have seen from Alter Ego in the old days, too. They do bad against lower-tier teams. They do good against higher-tier teams. Because it all comes down to how hyped they are. Rin is very new. When he's up against the teams that make him excited... He performs. Yeah. Hijume performs. Dreams perform. Big game players. But when they're up against like teams that are not as good, they're like, I don't really want to go up against these guys.
You said it in the interview, like give is for the
exactly. So, but that could be a problem if that truly is the case. It's more of a joke.
Yeah, I know.
But if we go back to the old Alter Ego, that was the problem. They were inconsistent because they would underestimate teams and then they would get hyped for certain teams only for these big matches. Yeah. And I think it's fair to talk about that for Alter Ego because they're so inconsistent right now. Even in their match wins, by the way, against ONIC too, last week, Game 1 was clean. Game 2 was fucking horrible because they had a 10,000 gold lead and they threw it, right? Because they kept on fighting. Game 3 was better, but I think props to ONIC for fumbling that one. Yeah, So what do we think about Alter Ego? Because I'm confused.
I hope they make it to playoffs, and I do think they will try to make it to playoff, of course. But I do believe this season might just be I think the revival of Alter Ego because we have missed them in the top flight for a couple of seasons, right? They haven't made it to playoffs yet. I think Nino said in an interview as well. He's trying to compose himself into even becoming better in terms of the communication and all that stuff.
No more yelling. No more
sabar. And Rin is just, performing pretty well. I thought, again, he was just slouching in the first few weeks. Because I remember in that match against ONIC, right? He got his purple buff stolen.
Dude.
He was just bullied by ONIC.
By Keyboy.
By Keyboy, by the way. And then Rin was like, nah, I'm not taking that personally.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you. I really do not have much to talk about Alter Ego. Kind of like the case with DEWA United Esports. I think they have still more to prove to be able to kind of make my eyes go, oh, this is the team that I'm gonna watch. This is the team that's gonna make a noise in the playoffs. Seriously, what? I don't really have much to talk about Alter Ego, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. I think I agree. I'm still very confused. I don't know where they would even rank in my power rankings because it's very weird. It's very inconsistent. And even against...
This season has been great.
Yeah, it's been very, very weird for Alter Ego. Even against... What was it? Navi? Yeah. Against Navi. Was it Navi? I think it was Navi. Yeah. Gebe versus Navi. It's like...
Kind of shaky.
Very shaky. Very, very shaky. I think maybe also due to the drafts, though, from Aldo, Navi there. But let's move on to the final team. I don't even need to scroll up. We know who it is. RRQ Hoshi. Wow. I already said this last week, but, like, I'm sorry for doubting Keskewed, man. Like, he's my GOAT. He's been my GOAT for such a long time. And I did say, if RRQ were to perform, it will be on the back of Dairon and Idok. Like one of those players will step up and carry the team, and I think that's what we're seeing now. And on top of that, it's not just them carrying the team, but it's Toy performing. Hazel, bro, dude. I don't want to claim credit for everything, but I also did say Hazel's better than Susujin from last season. So I just want to say,
yo,
Hazel He's my boy. We worked out together at M6 a couple of times with King Kong, with the boys. I spoke to him, and he's a cool kid. He's very, very smart. I think he's a very good player as well. All the way from Geek Fam. I remember Hazel better than Ray. Remember? I was like, Hazel, this guy's the future. Why aren't they playing with Hazel? And then I talked to Beloy. He's like, oh yeah, it's cool. Oh, no wonder. No wonder. But Hazel's always been good. Always been good.
Did you know that Hazel has a exam this Monday before he played MPL?
His mom's probably not too happy.
but he's making racks, so
he's making stacks. But you know, the reason he didn't get to play for Geek Fam after having an amazing week is because
he had school.
So if this hopefully doesn't mess with his ranks or his exam, Hazel, you better not fail that fucking exam.
Nah. If he's that good, just drop out.
Oh
away.
no. Yeah,
don't go that route.
The whole the idea behind his signing of RRQ is his mom was like, dude, my son needs to go to school, and Pape was, all right, sure. He's a late game investment, and I think finally it's paying off now because what a player. I like him. I really like his play style.
Yeah, how about Edok though? I think he's clear cut the
best player on
roamer.
RRQ. Best roamer in
yeah. And by a far margin too. I cannot believe how good Edok is.
Yeah,
I
think so too. Yeah,
he's very good with the utility picks.
Edok.
He's very good with the off-meta picks.
He's good at everything. Right?
His pocket pick, the Franco.
Oh my
Yikes.
god, dude,
So
that was disgusting. I'm sorry, I don't want to take away from Rins, but you put any other player on the Sicilian, it would be the same thing. How do you beat this nerd Edok on the Franco, dude?
No, but how do you get a triple kill in minute 3 or minute 2? Was it?
Yeah, that's
also disgusting.
It's not Rinse, it's the who are they playing against at that time?
TLID,
Liquid, right?
Yeah,
skill on Valentina. That was not
dude.
It was so bad.
It was so bad.
11 kills in 5 minutes. Right?
Disastrous.
Dude, I mean, it was an amazing game for Sicilian, but there's a reason that even though Sicilian got so many kills, he wasn't player of the game. He was probably the in-game MVP, but
sure.
we all know who the MVP was, man. Edok, control, pace, everything.
So good.
On the Tigreal, oh, dude, there's the Tigreal 4-man, dude. Oh my god. Edok, you are amazing. You are an amazing player, and I hope this continues. And dude, I feel bored already just giving my praise to Kescu. It feels like a sin now because it's all the time, man. How do you make a team with this team lost its leader? This team lost its identity. Skylar was this team. RRQ was Skylar. Let's be honest here. You lose your identity. You lose your main man, the in-game leader, and you get even better. Yeah. This is PSG. I said this in the last week. PSG. You lose Mbappe.
Yeah.
You have everybody, all these young players start to step up with a coach like Enrique, Kescu, PSG, RRQ. They also collabed in the past. They are going through the same arc right now.
Run it back?
Huh? Run it back.
Run it back. Why
PSG
not?
are invincible in the league. The 3-0 in the league. It's still a long shot from being fully invincible, but dude, I'm so happy for Kescu. It's so happy for RRQ that they are playing this well too.
And it feels like
3-0-6-0.
Yeah,
3-0-6-0.
I was just gonna check.
They didn't drop a single game, folks. Not a single game have they dropped.
Feels like they never really felt the absence of Skylar.
Yeah.
Toy just filled in his shoes. I think he's doing a wonderful job. But back to the point of Hazel, this guy is also so good on the utility picks. We talked about him back when it was his Geek Fam days. He was really loving the Barats, right?
Yeah.
I remember that just being his main weapon. And now back to him again in RRQ. I've read a couple of rumors again in X in which RRQ are trying to build a roster without Tsutsujin, but again these are still just rumors. In X, don't trust the internet, guys. By the way, but yeah, like you said, performing with Hazel has been very very flawless for RRQ. Just not dropping a single game as well, right? It's insane.
It's clear cut. I think they're the best team in MPL Indonesia. This is so far this season has been RQ and Navi sandwich. Everyone from 2nd and 8th
have
been
still competing
up in the air, right?
Yeah.
Even ONIC, I don't think they're gonna finish. I think they're still gonna be in top 5,
top 4.
Oh, you
top
think they're
4.
barely gonna make it to the playoffs?
Now they're gonna finish top 4.
I was gonna say top 4, but I don't know if that's gonna be the case after the start.
Yeah, knowing how good Alter Ego are, EVOS, even Bigetron, I'll be honest with you. Even though they're shaky, I think they will get better as the season goes on. I just hope RRQ keeps their form.
Yeah.
Because we know RRQ, even last season, just Kescu in general, he is very good at strategizing for the regular season, but so far in both playoffs, he has failed to capture the first place position. What is that?
What happened in season 13?
Season 13, first place, fourth place, 3-0'd by Geek Fam. But then, BTR 3-0'd Geek Fam last season, so it's revenge. It's revenge. Instant revenge after taking your player, after taking Luke.
That's so dirty, bro.
Luke! Oh,
I hate capitalism.
But all right, since we're done with MPLID, anything else to add for RRQ or for...
I hope they don't slack in the playoffs like a certain team did when they finished first.
What team are you talking about there,
I
man?
don't know.
But okay, let's talk about then, as we move on, let's talk about MPLPH. So MPLPH, welcome to the MPLPH segment that was missing in the previous week because we went
Behave,
on.
all right? Behave.
We went past the duration, but it's simple. We're not going to be talking about every match, every team because we don't have that knowledge. We've been casting for MPLID 3 days. But we have watched and, we went through a few games, mainly TLPH and ONIC PH games. So let's start with the downfall of ONIC PH. What is going on with ONIC PH, you guys think?
I don't know. Just shaky. I don't want to say complacency because they have been performing pretty well in the games. But I think that 2-0 against AP Bren, I'm not going to take that as a victory because, again, AP Bren, they even lost against Ipstad Mines.
Yeah, it's an MDL team.
Yeah, it's an MDL team. So I don't want to really give them that appreciation just yet. I don't know. Something's just missing. It feels like their plays has been so off. And ever since they came back from M6, even they won SPS.
Yeah.
It's just not the same anymore. I don't know. I really don't know what's happening.
I think it's bound to happen. Just the case like ONIC ID after their long dominance, they got read out and everyone is starting to catch up.
So is it complacency, you think, Cheffihn? The reason as to, after their dominance they drop? Or are they getting read out?
A bit more read out. Because, I think when I see the games against, I believe, was it Aurora or TNC against ONIC PH? It was
Aurora. It was Aurora,
right? A very competitive match, and ONIC was still playing at a pretty high level in terms of world stage MLBB.
Yeah. Even their match against TNC, I think TNC played well. They were able to match ONIC too. But yeah, their loss against TLPH, I just reviewed that match earlier. You'll see that. You'll see this episode a day after that episode. But yeah, holy shit, the TLPH just dominate them in the drafts as well. I think for me, the main problem for ONIC PH is, number one, they're getting read out, but also they are getting very reliant on cheese picks that they have relied on in the past when they needed to. Now they're relying on it a bit too much. The Selenas, the Mathilda mid lanes, these are really cool picks. These are Super Friends picks, and he's probably the only guy who could pull it off. But just because he's the only guy who can pull it off doesn't mean he has to do it every single game. If he does, that cheese pick will be read out. There's a reason it's called a cheese pick. It's not meta for a reason, right? Your player could be the best player in the world, but these cheese picks are meant to be cheese. These cheese picks are meant to be curveballs sent when you've already made the enemy think about other things.
Yeah. It's very good when you're able to condition your enemies into
Exactly.
thinking they're going to pick a certain hero again. But Super Friends, he's well known for being such a flashy and display-making mid laner who's able to set up and get the kills for himself. He's well known for the EVOS, the Valentinas as well. But when you keep on forcing him to play, I don't think he's forced to play this.
No.
It might also just...
He might also be confident.
Yeah, he might
wants to
also
play
be
it.
willing to play these type of picks. But again, like I said, being read out, it's just easy to counter cheese picks, to be honest.
Yeah.
When the enemies know that you are gonna go to throw that curveball.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking about picks, can we move on from ONIC PH? Is that right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
One thing that I really noticed about MPLPH overall is when you see MPL Indonesia in the XP laner, who's the most prio out of all of them?
CC.
Right.
CC.
In MPLPH, that's not the case.
Yeah.
So why do you think that's the case? And what's the priority in PH? Do they not want to? Do they want to just play for a more team fighting game, not really winning the lane per se? Because as a Geek fan too, when I see Gops play CC, I just do not see the impact that it should have had. So maybe this pick, in the first place, is kind of overrated.
Wait, I have something to say about that. To be honest, for me, CC again, I feel like this hero is just so overrated. It does nothing in the late game apart from maybe just shredding down HP when you're up against Hylos, when you're up against a Lucas. It's a very good pick. But in general, I just don't like CC. And that's the question again. PH, they're not prioing CC.
Yeah.
It's being picked in XP in MPLID for a few matches now. It's so popular. But I just don't see the vision. Maybe when you're playing a matchup that's very good, maybe against a Lucas, against a Hylos, it's going to be working just fine. But in the late game, maybe it's good for you to kite your opponents, just shut down the HP of their carries, but it just is not as impactful as other XPs you have and are available to pick. Maybe the Badang even is better for me.
Yeah, Badang, Edith. We've seen more Edith.
Edith,
Lucas
yeah.
has been showing up a lot. TLPH picked the Lucas against CC and still won it out. But yeah, I personally think it's overrated. Yeah, I like CC. I think CC is one of the best XPs in the current meta. But still, having said that, it's not a first phase prio pick in my opinion. Like I think in NPH as well, we've seen it more on like second phase. If it's not banned out, then they'll pick it up. But it's never really a core pick in NPH. In ID, I think it's just because we are much more of a brawly region. We don't get to late game often. We usually end the game by like 15, 16 minutes. So the CC does get a lot of value. In the mid game is that's the CC power spike that usually teams want to capitalize on, and that's usually where it works out in ID. But in Geek Fam's case, I think when you get to late game, your shred isn't really as prevalent anymore, and you just get CC'd to death. The CC gets CC'd, and ultimately, it's not a Geek Fam pick. They really like to play macro, really like to play late game. CC doesn't fit. Yeah.
And the thing is, CC, when you're in a losing position, what does it do?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
When you're playing
useless.
an Edith, you can get pickoffs. You can still, the problem ref damage is actually insane. When Badang, you have some kind of needle mover trying to catch up to the opponent's goal. No, CC, you have to play with your items. Like if you don't have the items, you don't have the
very
XPs.
goal dependent.
Yeah,
Goal dependent. Very, I'd say very.
It's like a shitty X-Borg.
It's a greedy pick. To be honest.
Is it not like a shitty X-Borg? Like when X-Borg was
I
meta,
wouldn't say shitty.
it's a damage dealer that can shred HP.
Yeah.
But X-Borg, if you fall behind, your high ground's still good. You have utility. You have 2 health bars.
I
right?
guess.
Like it's X-Borg was the when it was meta. Like right now, X-Borg is shitty CC. But you get what I mean. At least they in his prime, he was able to clear up waves really fast, do all that, and then do really well. But yeah, that was a good point to bring up, CC. So let's move on to then TLPH, I think. Because on the other side of the map, we have ONIC who are, down. Twisted Minds, I expect this was, I said before the season started, this is, on roster, this is the worst team in MPLPH. I got hate for that, but why are you booing me? I'm fucking right. TLPH, they're doing really well. They're like the BTRs in PH for me. I love them. And Oheb was, wow.
BTRPH.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, not in the choky way, but like I support them
They got
in
trophies.
PH. Not in the trophy way, Cheffihn. Like they're the BTR and PH for me because I support them.
Okay.
He holds them dearly.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay.
But hello, Claudia wants to join. Claudia wants to join the podcast. Want to say something? Okay.
I mean, TLPH, like, again, we were casters of Indonesia. We don't really get to the full time to analyze what's going on in PH.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can do is probably glaze the hell out of them. Right? Because Carl T is, like, how long he's been in the scene, man? Since M2 it was not the MVP of M2, right? He was
Carl?
not.
He was finals
right?
MVP,
Okay,
yes.
he was finals MVP. And he's still here on the top, probably the best jungler in PH right now.
And he's still so young, by the way. Like we think about Carl, we think about him being like a veteran. But he could be a rookie. He could have just joined this season, and he's. I think it would still make sense if we were talking about his age.
Yeah.
He won M2 at 16, so he's what 19 now.
Yeah.
He's about to hit 20. He's about to be 20 this year, I think.
When you look at the legends of Indonesia,
They're gone. They're all gone. Rekt is a coach. I guess that's the closest thing to being competitive.
Lemons
Watt is a
gone.
coach now.
okay.
Donkeys making
I'm gonna talk about
stacks.
it later, but we're talking about TLPH right now.
Yeah. Let's talk about TLPH.
Well,
so, thoughts, realize on TLPH?
I just hope they don't choke.
Hey, what are you?
When they were doing very well in the first, I think it was last year in the first half of the season, they were doing well. They were winning left and right, and I just hope they're able to retain this performance because a 2-0 win against ONIC is, I think, something monumental for them. So I do hope they don't get complacent on the things that they're given.
Yeah, I agree. I think the drafts have been amazing. The addition of their new coach, the coach of Falcon. He was the coach of Falcon Esports, guys. It is such a good addition. Like they've been struggling for a long time to actually find a coach. I think the last time they had a coach that really knew what he was doing, that really was like top tier, that could match the players, was M4 when they had Trevor. When they lost Trevor, I forgot which season he lost Trevor, but they lost Trevor. It really felt like the burden was placed on Carl. The burden was placed on all the players to not only play but also to draft. So now that they have that burden released, it seems they can play normally again, and Carl can go back to his fucking micro mechanics, crazy mechanics. I saw a couple of games that I thought you guys were over exaggerating, saying like, "Oh yeah, Carl Tizzi's back to his prime." I watched it. I'm like, damn, yeah, he's actually he's crazy on the Joy, like on the Suyo Alpha. It's normal Carl. I think it's like post M4 Carl. We saw that, but on the Haya, on the Joy, performing on that level. Dude, I'm excited for this. Sanford's my boy, best XP.
Sanford!
Every single season, someone asks me who's the best XP. Ford, brother. You see that? Do you see the Lucas play?
Yeah.
The Lucas flicker. Lucas flicker shoved everybody back from ONIC page. It was. We don't see Lucas in XP because whenever you see CC, they don't go Lucas.
Yeah.
Sanford's like,
Bring it.
counter this, bro. What counter?
Did we not expect him to come to MPL ID last season? Or for these
Yeah,
seasons?
luckily he didn't. I'll be honest with you, because
Which team was it? that
TL.
expected?
It would be TL.
TL.
100%. Like, there's no
TL,
way
okay.
Sanford would be like TL will never let go of Sanford.
Yep.
They will never let go of Sanji. They will never let go of Carl Tizzi. The others maybe they would, right? But these guys, oh man, and JP has been playing so well. You know why? He's back to the pick-off meta. He's back on the jawhead. He's back on the picks that was his specialty even in season 11 when they. In season 13, I think. Season 13, when they won MPL, beating AP Brand, that was a pick-off meta. Pick-off and then healer, right? Mathilda, all that. So I think TLPH are really doing good. But what could hurt them is the patch. That's what I'm concerned for. Because right now, all the TL fans are probably super happy for TLPH. They really like how they are playing, everything. But once the patch hits, if we are going to be seeing, big changes in the map, big changes in picks, I think the Tana's going to be buff, all this, we might see a big shift in the power rankings for PH and ID.
Yeah. Well, I hope they keep the momentum going because just putting down ONIC, maybe I am, of course. I'd prefer ONIC to win, of course. I'm an ONIC fan. But if TL can put down ONIC, I feel like that just sets the tone for everything that's going to happen leading towards M7. I mean, imagine if ONIC won't make it to M Series. Both of the ONICs, maybe? I don't know. That might happen.
I think M7 will be too far. I think we think about MSC first.
Yeah,
right?
MSC,
Like if both
that's true.
ONICs don't qualify for MSC,
Then we can talk.
then we can talk about it. Yeah, for sure.
Let's see.
Do we want to talk about what I said earlier about the Legends of PH seems to stay longer in the pro scene?
Yeah, sure.
than
I
the
think
Legends
that's a
of
good point to talk
Indonesia.
about.
Like, what do you guys
Few
think?
is still here.
Yeah.
Flap Teezy's still here. Everyone from M2.
Yeah.
Almost
Is Ogwen
everyone.
a legend?
technically M5, right? He won M5. He's still in it. I don't think he's as big of a legend as Flap Teezy, Carl Teezy, or Few. But heck, even Ducky is still in it.
Yeah,
Like,
Ducky.
where's Zace? Zace is no longer in MPL.
Speaking about Zace, I've actually talked about not talked about Zace, but I asked Zace about this. Like, why is PH seems a bit more competitive than Indonesia? He said that mostly because the esports culture is already built there and was the culture before MLBB even begins.
They had what? They were Dota, right? Before?
Yeah.
Well, Indonesia had those too, but not to the extent
Not
of
big,
the
yeah.
popularity of MLBB right now. So do you guys think that's the case for all of these legends retiring quite early, But
No, I don't think so.
we're not taking shots at Legends of Indonesia, by the way.
We're not taking shots.
We're not
It's
doing
just
that. All right,
This
please,
is the discussion.
please.
To be
No,
honest, to be honest, when you're such a legend, you gain so much traction. You have so much traffic. It's much more lucrative for you to stream. It's easier for you to make money when you're at home, just streaming, compared to you having to go pro play, spin your head around the draft, performing at your best with the fans scrutinizing you.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I think legends from Indonesia, they just not fall off, but they choose to just not participate anymore because they're making way more money. It's much more favorable for them, much more lucrative for them. They're not playing, but they're still retaining the same popularity and the same money as well, even greater money.
So is that not possible to do in PH?
No.
No, for PH,
think-
it's not as fanatic as Indonesia are.
They don't have as many fans in the Philippines as we do here in Indo. I think in Indo, we are mainstream. Like, this is MLBB isn't even just like an esport. It almost feels like a real sport right now in MLBB. It feels like it's just embedded in Indonesia already.
I mean, if you talk
celebrities
randomly,
watch.
If you're gonna go and probably ask for a go ride, your driver is probably playing is an MLBB player.
I've had that experience a couple of times, and I'm an English caster, by the way. Like, if we're all English casters here, but just yesterday I was recognized in a mall. I was recognized in Gojek. So I'm an English caster. I never expect these things because, like, in the Philippines maybe I would expect it more because they are the target audience. Usually they are the ones watching us, but if they know the English casters,
Yeah.
how fucking mainstream is MLBB in Indo, right? In the Philippines, it's pretty mainstream as well. I'll be honest with you. I think so, at least from what I know. But it's definitely not as big. It's not as mainstream as it is here in Indo. So when these players go and stream, they don't tune in like they do here in Indo. In Indo, these legends get fucking hundreds of thousands of live viewers, not like peak viewers, live concurrent viewers. So yeah, I agree. I think the reason MLBB legends don't stay that long in Indo is because they just have too much money. They can make so much more money as
with less stress.
yeah, without being a professional. Meanwhile, there to really make a lot of money, you either have to be crazy entertaining as a streamer. I think we've seen that like transition from VYs as well. They've transitioned over a lot of. Their content creators aren't pro players actually. Like, I mean, Dogi isn't a pro player, right? He's Akosi
No, he
Dogi
played in
isn't.
MPL.
He played in MPL, but like, it's more of a gimmick. Yeah, I think the way they make money is by winning tournaments. They make like they win M Series, they win MSC, they get these prize pools, and then they get rich. That's why Flapteasy is doing a good job, Few is doing a good job. But when it comes to streaming, they don't make as much as they do. And I think it's not just about money for me. I think this is something that I've seen from Indonesia's culture and Philippines culture, but they are so like Philippines. This could be a bad thing or a good thing, but in MLBB and in competitive sports, they're so proud. They're so proud of themselves, and how do they stay proud? How do they continue to like be super patriotic and like super? I'm Filipinos by winning. If they win, they're like, yeah, we're the best. We're the best in the world. This is us. We compete. We continue to compete. We're not here just for the money. We're not. And in Indo, it's more like, yeah, I love Indo. I'm an Indonesian. Oh shit, is that a stash? Is that a fucking bag of cash, brother? Let's go. So it's different. It's different. I think the culture, the tradition, like traditionally as well, it's just a bit different there, where we think of money a lot more. Because I think of money a lot more. It's not blaming Indonesia, because I think of money a lot more than I've been offered a few times to coach, but I'm like, no, it's not enough money. Like, no.
So can we connect that to the fact that Indonesia has not been winning M Series for a long time?
Mentality. Okay, here I'll tell you something that I think is real, right? I don't know. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'll get hated if I'm wrong. But the Filipinos always think they're the best. It doesn't matter if they're the worst. It doesn't matter if they're 8th place. Like, let's say TNC, 8th place. They will still think they'll be able to beat MPLID's number 1. They'll still be able. They'll think they're gonna beat SRG. You know what I mean? Mentality is very, very crucial, and that's me talking about the 8th place team. Imagine the 1st place team having the skills to back up what they think, to back up that mentality. In the end, competition, competitive play at the highest level, mentality is up there with your skills, maybe even more important than how good you are, right? Because how do you perform in front of a crowd of millions, in front of a crowd of 100,000s, if you don't have that mentality, if you don't have that confidence, if you don't think you're the best, you're not going to be the best.
It's not just the players, the viewers as well, right? The viewers, they have so much nationalism, I'd say, towards Philippines. You guys have been, attacked by PH fans because
I think more him and
him
Arashi
yeah,
compared
that's
to
true.
me, but
because it shows how much they love the game, how much they love the teams. And here in Indonesia, it's more of us bullying other teams as well.
each other.
Yeah, each other. Maybe I'm not trying to generalize things, but maybe EVOS and RRQ have been going at it, the fans as well. And adding to the patriotism, when it comes to national duty, the players, they give their heart out. Winning maybe ISF, even though it was EVOS, winning the
first one,
the first edition,
then Philippines, and then Malaysia.
Yeah, but SEA Games, and then you talk about the other ISFs.
Yeah,
Philippines, they put effort into it.
So is this a problem that we can fix, or do we even want to fix?
I think this problem is something that has to be fixed. It's a long-term fix. It's not something
culture,
that you can.
Right?
Yeah,
root cause.
I
don't think
it starts from the root. It starts from when they were kids. I think that kind of patriotism, that kind of mentality is built in a lot of the players and a lot of the people we see here today. When they were kids, it's very tough to just say you have to think you're the best in the world right now when clearly mental is something very hard to talk about. Like there's no way to just put an idea in someone's head. In the way that you want it. You might say that and they're like, but I'm not. But
what the fuck is that?
It's always different, and I think this is like a deep conversation that that will keep on going. I think, you know, like if we want to continue, we can continue for fucking 3 hours, and we will probably find something, but we will never find a conclusion.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end the podcast. Actually, you know what? Damn, that was a good one. Great on the go topics. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys want to see more Cheffihn and Realize, you guys can catch them on their Instagrams. What's your Instagram, sir?
Cheffihn.
At Cheffihn. Go ahead. What's your Instagram, sir?
Faiz triple E. Why? I know it's a very, very bad Instagram name. I'm going to rebrand soon because I remember Mirko reminding me to rebrand my Instagram. I will in the near future.
You'll find their links or their ats in the description below. Go ahead and check them out, man. Cheffihn and Realize. And hopefully we can get them on the podcast more often here because that was good. That was really good. Let us know what you guys think about, you know, our opinions on the teams as well on MPLPH. I'm sorry again, we can't deep dive on MPLPH teams is because we don't watch MPLPH that much, and we don't really have the time to watch MPLPH that much because we're working 3 days and we're really just focusing on MPLID more. That's our job. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed what we think and, you know, the little matches that we get to talk about for PH, a few teams that we get to mention. Hopefully you enjoy it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.
Thank you.